Greetings. In this video I'm going to talk about the Warren Thomas Griffe, made for EDCKnives, everyday carry knives. You may have seen this knife before in the video that I did on Okuden sheaths. Brian Wagner is a friend of mine and an excellent sheath maker. And he made the sheath that I use for this knife. This is the Griffe that I've had the longest. The first Griffe I ever had was an Emerson Griffe, and I'm going to be doing a video on one of those, not the exact one, but a different one. This is the one that I've had the longest though, and the one that I EDC. It's extremely lightweight, being titanium. Of course it can't rust. Warren Thomas did this knife as titanium bonded to carbon fiber via his proprietary process, and fingerprint anodization on the titanium, and a carbide edge. The theory behind the carbide edge is that due to titanium being a relatively soft material, as the titanium dulls, the carbide will continue being able to saw through things essentially, and as it's worn down, new carbide material comes to the forefront, and in that way it stays sharp. When Dwayne from EDCKnives asked Fred Perrin if he could have a run of Griffes made out of titanium by a couple different knife makers, namely Warren Thomas and Tom Crine, and Fred Perrin agreed. Dwayne had this stamp made up here. You can see the F. Perrin design. He wanted to ensure that credit was given where credit was due. He also paid royalties to Fred Perrin, and donated several knives to Fred to use in his teachings and to sell to his students. So in all, a very class act way of doing it. I believe there are some people out there who have essentially stolen the design without asking permission. Everyone I've ever heard of that has asked permission has been given permission to make their own version of the Griffe. So getting into a little bit of the design history of the Griffe, not specifically this Warren Thomas titanium Griffe, just the Griffe design. Fred Perrin designed the Griffe. He was looking for a small fixed blade. He wanted something that it would be impossible for him to lose his grip on, which the Griffe of course accomplishes. And he wanted it to be able to attack, small tasks, small chores that he would have that maybe a folder couldn't really do. He wanted the additional strength of a fixed blade, and he wanted it relatively small. You could also, use it as a possible last-ditch weapon, and he wanted it to have a relatively short blade, which, his original design embodies that a little bit more than some of the ones that have followed. But he wanted it to have a relatively short blade, so that if he did use it in self-defense, a person would be less likely to actually kill the person that they're attempting to defend themselves from. He didn't want to unintentionally do more harm than he intended to do, which makes sense. He was just wanting to be able to stop an attacker, not to mortally wound them. Although he recognizes, of course, that that is a possibility with any blade, but it would be a little bit less likely to unintentionally do it with a shorter blade. He chose a classical Yogatan Bowie design for the original Griffe. And he made custom versions of that for many years. Still does. Still makes customs. Lately on his website I've been seeing a lot of the mid-techs with custom handles. So he's been doing a lot of that lately. Yeah, I really enjoy this Warren Thomas Tanto design. Even being a bit thicker, which actually sort of helps with the grip retention. Even being a bit thicker, or not the retention, but rather the grip, just the way it feels in hand, it still weighs less than the 440C version of this mid-tech. Right now, Everyday Carry Knives still has some Tom Crine titanium Buila Griffes in stock. After those are gone, there'll probably be more, hopefully more Warren Thomas and Tom Crine designs come into stock. So I'm really looking forward to that. Okay, thanks for watching.